Here is the only number you need to know from last night. The only number you need to know. 43% of Democrats watching the State of the Union liked it. That's the only number you need to. That number is going to shock, perplex, stun, and panic elected Democrats all across the fruited plain. Greetings, my friends. Great to have you. Rush Limbaugh, the EIB network, and we're raring and ready to go. And I just want to warn you, you're going to get the most unique and comprehensive reaction, analysis, coverage of last night's events right here on this program, but it's going to take more than the first segment to get it all in. So be patient. I have to laugh. The media will do anything to avoid having to cover this today. And lo and behold, they've had a godsend. A train carrying Republican members of Congress on the way to a retreat somewhere somehow ran into and wiped out a dump truck. Now, on CNN, they are televising tweets, and the tweets all read, GOP train crashes into dump truck. It's though the Republicans driving the train and saw a dump truck and probably thought that an illegal immigrant was driving it, and so steered the train into the dump truck to wipe it out. This is going to be, that's an exaggeration, but this is going to be how this story is positioned. Admittedly, it's an exaggeration, but when you say GOP train instead of train carrying GOP members, GOP train, that means you can picture Paul Ryan as the conductor. And it probably put Louis Gohmert in there as the engineer, and they see a pickup truck, and they see trash, and they see an illegal, and they go off the rails to wipe out. And, of course, the news of it is the driver is receiving medical treatment. Members of Congress are okay. ... Ho-hum. I mean, I just saw this. I know these people, folks. This is why I know how they are in the CNN newsroom. And at the MSNBC newsroom, I know how they're reacting to this. They see this as an opportunity to paint the Republicans in a heartless light. It's a singular little dump truck, some guy that the Trump economy has bypassed, because if it hadn't, he wouldn't be driving a dump truck. And it wasn't just a train that wiped out his little dump truck. It was the GOP train. Anyway, that will not prevent us from saying there is a fatality now, one fatality related to crash. See, Fox is saying train carrying Republicans. And now CNN on their graphics says train taking GOP Congress members. But they've been running, some info babe has been tweeting about it, and they've been televising her tweets, GOP train. At any rate, that number, 43% of Democrats, and this is a CBS News flash poll after the event. You want to know something else funny about this? All of these media people are trying to tell us to ignore their polls from last night. CNN polls will say 80% of the people liked it on CNN. 75% CBS liked it. And they're trying to tell us, but that doesn't matter because it's only people who watch the speech. Oh, really? So a better poll would include people who didn't? Is that what you want us to believe, drive-by types? Here, grab them. Soundbite number 14, John Dickerson, CBS This Morning, reporting about the new CBS poll. Here's the full number. 97% of Republicans watched it and liked it. 72% of independents liked it. 43% of Democrats. That's the number. Here's John Dickerson, CBS.
A CBS News poll shows 3 out of 4 Americans who saw the speech approve of the president's message. 8 in 10 Americans who watched say they believe Mr. Trump was trying to unite the country rather than divide it. The audience, according to our poll, was 42% Republican and 25% Democrat.
Right. So they're trying. So that means that, of course, the results are going to be skewed because there are many more Republicans who watched it because it was their guy in office, and people tend to watch people from their own party. So they're trying. They can't avoid it. By the way, the CBS poll that I cited is a combo YouGov poll. Dickerson's reporting on an exclusive CBS poll, so the numbers are different. In the CBS YouGov poll, 97% Republicans liked it. 72% independents, 43% Democrats. Now, Dickerson here in the CBS exclusive flash poll, 75% approve the message. That this is more than just do you like the speech. This approved the message. 80% of Americans said they believe Trump was trying to unite the country, or that coupled with the 43% number. Because I'll tell you why. I was flat out, I was amazed last night because the White House, they had Wolf Blitzer and a bunch of them up there for lunch, which is a tradition. You bring in the drive-bys, have lunch with them in the White House. The president does before the State of the Union. And they all came out of there, and the White House facilitated this. They said, the president's going to reach out tonight. The president's going to seek unity. The president's going to cross the divide. Well, that means different things to different people. To the drive-bys of the Democrats, it meant Trump was going to cave. It meant Trump was going to dial it back. It meant Trump was going to wander off of his agenda reservation and embrace Democrat ideas. What that meant that when the White House says Trump is going to try to unify, that means to them that Trump is giving up. And Trump recognizes he can't go on the way he has been. So he's got to get anything done. He's got to include the Democrats and let their agenda have a significant role. So that's the way the speech was portrayed all day yesterday. And that's the way it was portrayed last night. And then we got the speech. And folks, I'm telling you, it was, I think, maybe the best State of the Union speech I've ever seen. And I will explain why as the program unfolds. But in the aftermath of the speech, I'm flipping around to the networks, and I haven't watched cable news steadily, and I cannot tell you how long. So this was kind of like going back to school after being, summer recess. And I was taken aback. I wasn't surprised, but I was amazed. It didn't matter which network I watched. The initial reaction from most of the commentators was that Trump blew it, that Trump did not unify, that he didn't even attempt to unify, that he didn't reach across the aisle. The White House must have lied to us all day today. And they thought it was a dud of a speech. Juan Williams thought the speech was a gigantic letdown. It's amazing what these people see that the American people don't see. And it's just stunning what the American people see in a speech like this that the media and others inside the Beltway in Washington do not see. How that speech could be seen as anything other than unifying and uplifting is beyond me. Who would not want to celebrate the unemployment rate dipping to an all-time low? Who would not want to unify behind the idea that African American and Hispanic unemployment is at a record low? Who would not want to unify and be thrilled by and excited by and supportive of the president's report last night in general of the State of the Union, which is kick butt? And yet there were the media and there were the Democrats thinking that Trump had failed, the White House had lied, and as such it was a dud of a speech. How could you watch the way the president last night utilized his guests in the audience is the best it has ever been done. They were not trophy appearances last night. They were not pawns. They were not used as props. They were used to illustrate what America is. They were used to help explain and define what America is. Their stories, who they are, the achievements, the adversity that they overcame is distinctly, uniquely American. It is why they were chosen. They were chosen to inspire. The young man from North Korea waving his crutches. The single best statement against North Korea and a positive statement for the people of North Korea that could ever be made. And the Democrats sat through all of it. And it wasn't that they just sat through all of it. They looked befuddled and confused and angry during stories and illustrations of the greatness of America. They genuinely seemed befuddled by it. They were looking at each other in a confused way, and it wasn't just because the entire Republican side was standing and applauding. They don't get it. Telling great stories about America. In the Democrat worldview, the definition of greatness in America is a minority, a victim, overcoming some American obstacle, usually conservative hate or bigotry. You know, with Obama or Clinton putting people as guests and props, they're not examples of great American achievement. They're examples of people who overcame the inherent bigotry in America. And so the Democrats in that room last night, and probably many of them around the country, they looked a combination of befuddled, looked at each other kind of curiously, confused, and some of them were even angry at every expression of American greatness, every example of American greatness. It was mind-boggling to witness. James Clyburn, who is the father of Steak Clyburn. James Clyburn, a member of Congressional Black Caucasians. Do you know what he said the low point in the speech was for him? I'm not going to make you guess because there are too many things it could be. The low point for him, by his own admission, was when Donald Trump said, Americans are dreamers too. James Clyburn, who is a ranking leader of the Democrat Party in Congress, said that was the low point for him. You know where I first heard that line? Americans are dreamers too, from a caller to this program who was angry about the Democrats' plans for the dreamers, and the Democrats wanted to drop everything in order to secure citizenship and voting rights and welfare benefits and whatever else for the dreamer kids. And this guy was on the phone with us. He said, Rush, my kids dream too. My kids are dreamers too. And that begot other calls echoing the sentiment. I myself echoed the sentiment. And then there it was last night, coming out of the mouth of the President of the United States. Here's another example. This is audio soundbite 15. Here we have David Chalian over at CNN. He's with Wolf Blitzer, and they are telling us to ignore their poll of how great Trump did last night because most of the people watching were Republicans.
It's not. It's not representative of the country overall. It is a poll of people who watch the speech. Well, who watches a State of the Union address? Fans of the person giving it. So it is definitely an audience that skews a little bit more towards Republicans than Democrats. In the Obama years, it was the reverse. Here's what we found out. 48% of those who watched the speech tonight had a very positive reaction to the speech. 22% somewhat positive. 29% negative. 62% of speech watchers tonight say that Donald Trump's policies, as laid out tonight, will move the country in the right direction.
Let me go back to this 48% number that Chalian cites there. 48% of those who watched the speech tonight had a very positive reaction to it. The media tried to say, that's way below Obama. That's way below other presidents. And then people looked it up. And they found out that for both George W. Bush and Barack Obama, the identical number in a State of the Union address in a midterm election year, 48% of the people watching it had a very positive reaction to it. It was identical to Obama's number. Again, I ask, would it have been better if you people at CNN would have polled people that didn't watch it? What is the point of telling us that the poll is the result of people who watch the speech? Of course it is. What would be news is if you went out and polled people like college or Campus Reform did and interviewed a bunch of students at NYU to ask them what they thought of the State of the Union speech 5 days before it was given, and they all panned it. So the divide in the country, it is undeniable. The media continues to illustrate they do not understand Donald Trump. The Democrats never, it's hopeless, they never will. The reaction to that speech is a failure. Trump failed to unify. White House might have lied to us. It was a dud of a speech. You talk about a disconnect. And it's more than just expectation. It's more than the fact the White House told them that Trump was going to try to unify. It's what that means to them. When they're told by a Republican communications office in the White House the president is going to attempt to unify in the speech, bring the country together, that means one thing to them. The president has realized he has to adopt the Democrat agenda. And then when that doesn't happen, which it clearly didn't, I mean, the president continued to hammer the NFL last night. The president hammered the NFL big time last night. Here we are just less than a week away from the Super Bowl, and he hammers the NFL. He didn't hammer the NFL. That's the wrong way to put it. He paid homage to America and to our flag. It is undeniable this man loves his country. He loves America. He wants everybody to. And that State of the Union speech last night was, among many other things, a list of reasons why. There was not, did you notice what it was not? There was not a laundry list of new giveaway programs, new spending programs, no promises to cure cancer. There was a promise to reduce generic drug prices, but there wasn't a laundry list of new Santa Claus-type programs. This was a genuine State of the Union. It was the State of the Union. What shape are we in? Where are we headed? And to see the Democrats not only not applauding, but sitting and scowling. And they think they're going to win the midterms. How could anybody argue with anything Trump said last night? Seriously, folks. And where was this Trump hatred, and where was the evidence that we need to invoke the 25th Amendment to get the guy out of there? Where was any of this? Have to take a break. Just getting started here. The ACLU. Are you ready for this? The ACLU issued a statement complaining that President Trump used the word America more than 80 times in the speech. Tonight, President Trump said the word America more than 80 times in his speech. Yet after a divisive first year, we hear and feel how exclusionary his America is, with policies that have harmed so many. The ACLU stands ready to protect these communities, both in the courts and at the polls. You see, America is about the people it hurts, about the people it victimizes. To these people.